And yeah, I think, hi everyone. It's 24th of July and it is our Arborist call again. Um, so Today our agenda is we're going to be covering core stack updates as usual, research and implementation updates, and at the end there'll be time for any announcements and discussion. So for people who don't know, Arborist calls are every other week. It's an opportunity for different people working in the Zcash ecosystem to come together and share what they've been working on. And the reason we do this is for transparency, but also so people know what's happening. If they want to get involved, and somehow this is a really good opportunity to find out what's going on and yeah, ask questions or see if you want to get involved somehow. Um, so yeah, as anyone can participate, which is obviously a big part of Zcash. We very much encourage people to get involved. So if you want to suggest a topic as well for discussion for the Arborist calls, there's the email is here. And here are some other ways to get involved. So we have the Zcash community grants, the research and development Discord channel, and we also have some community forums. Yeah, so let's get started. So we'll start the core stack update, and I believe Alfredo will be talking from the foundation about Zebra. Alfredo, if you are speaking, you are muted.
Can you hear me? Great. Oh, sorry, I joined in late. So, yeah, I guess it's my turn for the Zebra updates, right?
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. So, in Zebra, we launched the release 2.4.0, and this release contained a database format upgrade in an attempt to make it the most efficient and less destructive for the node operators. Uh, we introduced a bug. The bug was not discovered by our test framework, but by a ticket from Shambo about with an RPC issue he was seeing. We found the root cause of that problem. We made a fix and we pushed it 2.4.1 and we shanked the 2.4.0 release. We provided instruction on how to proceed if your database was corrupted by the use of a 2.4.0 node. However, while we were testing 2.4.1, we found some issues, and this time we're not totally sure if we're going to make 2.4.2 or if 2.4.1, which is the release we made with the fix, will uh, just make it. So we'll confirm that probably today. Um, yeah, we're sorry about that inconvenience. We had a hard time with the last release. We are having some CI issues as well that kind of, yeah, we had kind of a bottleneck in the releases, and we are trying to improve the process to be able to fix faster and improve the test framework to find these kind of bugs before they happen. So apart from that, we removed some crates from Zebra that we introduced a while ago when the stack we are working on right now for Zcash deprecation was not clear. So we had some scanning functionalities on wallet stuff that we ended up not using. So we removed that, Zebra scan crate. And there was a related crate, Zebra gRPC, which was an entry point from that was removed as well. Then we are trying to use Zcash primitives to build Coinbase transactions using the transaction builder, and we are also trying to use other part of Zcash primitives to kind of deduplicate code we have in Zebra and just use that. We are working on missing regtext functionality, specifically to support the QI framework testing. Um, we have a PR open for implementing a new 6.1 that is under review right now. We also have different pull requests open in different parts of the stack, like Libra, Zcash, Salad, and other repositories. We're also merging external contributor PRs and things that are showing up in Zebra and trying to respond to the tickets people have been opening. That's pretty much it, I guess, the main stuff.
Great.
Any
Thank you.
question, please let me know.
Thank you, Alfredo. Are there any questions? No? Okay, great. We'll move on. So is this who's going to be speaking from ECC? Do we have anyone who's going to talk today? If not, that's fine. Oh, Dara Emma, we can't actually hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was both muted and hardware muted. Sorry about that. Okay. So I think the last Arborist call was on the 10th, which means that we haven't yet reported on the ZEC Summit and the work that we did in the Hacker House, the core and wallet team for ECC. So there's potentially a lot to talk about. I'm not sure I can remember all of it, but let's see. We had some discussions about Tachyon, which is the new scalability architecture, the research on that being done by Sean Dove. We core team kind of explained that to wallet team, and we had some discussions about how to kind of change the payment flows, or what payment flows were possible for the new architecture. Basically, there will be higher emphasis on payment requests rather than kind of sending via the broadcast channel of the blockchain. Let's see what else. So at the ZEC Summit, we fleshed out a roadmap, which has been, I don't think that there's no blog post yet. The Q3 roadmap for ECC has been reviewed, but I don't know whether I can kind of give you the final version yet. But there will be a blog post coming out soon about that. I guess I can give you some summary about what will be in it. Just bear with me a second. Okay, so just to make sure I'm on the right tab. Yeah, so from the point of view of core, we're planning for a potential NU 6.1 mainnet activation window in October or November, probably October. It's likely to be at the end of the current lockbox distribution stream. There's a lot of work to do on NU7, and that will be all fleshed out in the schedule. We are currently working on the specifications of Frost key derivation and quantum resilience for Orchard. There will be, the details haven't been fleshed out yet, but I hope there will be an audit of quantum resilience and Frost key derivation. Let's see what else. So we've been doing a lot of work on P2SH support because that is needed both for Zcash deprecation and for NU 6.1.
Sorry, what? Oh, P2HK?
Sorry, P2SH. So mainly P2SH multisig. That's the transparent multisig. So that's as well as Frost. But for NU 6.1, the disbursement from the lockbox will be to a P2SH multisig address. And obviously, Zcash supports that, but we want that support in Xale and Keystone. Let's see. And we will need a Keystone firmware update to support that. We are planning to propose that transparent information be put into compact blocks, which would improve privacy for that. Obviously, the transparent protocol can't be fully private, but it will avoid leaking which transactions that a particular wallet is interested in directly to the Light Wallet D. Okay, there's a schedule for Zcash T releases. I think that's that's. Oh, I haven't said anything about Zashi, but so is this ECC in general, this report, or is it including Zashi? Is anyone from the ECC wallet team here? I guess the scope of what it says on the slide there is just core team. But there's I'll just say that there will be a kind of a roadmap for Zashi as well. And in the last 2 weeks, let's see, we have been working on basically those priorities. So a lot of work on Zcash script, which is necessary for P2SH support. Let's see. There's a huge number of PRs in Libra Zcash have been sort of filed and reviewed. And let's see, we've been working on the quantum resilience spec. And yeah, there's a technical change to that spec to add a new key QSK. I won't get into the detail, but that will be helpful for hardware wallets in the post-quantum era. And let's see. Oh yes, some refactoring of how Tor is handled for Zashi. So not everyone can use Tor. There are countries which it could be sort of a risk to users to use Tor. And so we've been making the opt-in, opt-out for that more robust in Zashi. And let's see, that will be released soon. And yeah, I think that's pretty much some work on the NSM, so network sustainability mechanism specification. That's about it.
Great, thank you. There is a couple of questions.
Let me have a look at the questions in the chat. I'll read them out. Is there a plan to publish user metrics, user interview summaries for Zashi? I know we have that information, and and it's kind of published internally in all hands meetings. I can't speak for the Zcash team about whether there's a plan to publish that. Oh, apparently Tatiana is on that. So yes. Light client working group. Sorry, what was the question there?
The venue for Light Wallet updates.
Oh, okay, that's not my wheelhouse. So any updates on the Orchard reviews? So reviewing the Halo circuit changes is next on my to-do list. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Great. We have some questions, it seems. So I think it was Alfredo, then Paku, then Zuko. So Alfredo, do you want to go?
Yeah, so you mentioned the logbox addresses will be of this new type that we're trying to support. So I was wondering if you know. So right now in the Zebra PR, and I guess in the Zcash DPR as well, for a new 6.1, the address list is empty. And I was wondering if you think we are going to need to do anything to support this new type of address in the node side.
So it's just P2SH multisig. So I don't think so. I think that's mainly a wallet thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the transaction will be accepted because the hex code there is valid and that's it. Okay.
So obviously you can spend, so when you disperse to a P2SH multisig, that transaction is then spending from that multisig address. It's just a normal transaction. There's nothing special about it. There's no consensus changes for that. And as far as I understand, the PR that you're talking about is the consensus changes for the lockbox disbursement itself, the one-time disbursement. And I think I haven't reviewed it, and it's sort of close to the top of my list to review that, but I think that includes all of the consensus changes needed.
Thanks.
Next question.
Paku?
Okay, I'm next. Okay. My question was around the change on the compact block format to include transparent info. Yeah. Do you have that fleshed out? When would be an appropriate moment to bringing other teams to the discussion in terms of like development scope and mostly Zano, since it's going to be replacing like WALD and probably needs to scope out that work. And
yes, I would imagine that should be discussed in the Light Client Wallet meeting, which I think there's one today. Yeah, there's one today, so we can do that.
Okay, I'll put that on the end.
Okay, thank you.
So
to answer the question about whether it's already, the spec has already been fleshed out, the answer is no. I think it's relatively straightforward. It's just defining the protobuf format, basically.
Zuko, go for it.
Where can I track that work on the network sustainability mechanism spec?
There's a PR for it. I think it's the most recent PR in Zcash tips. Just check that. I'll put it in the chat.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions from anyone? No? Great. Thank you, Darren.
Welcome.
Hey, Zingo Labs. Anyone?
Yeah, so we have done a significant refactor of our code to support a future-proof Rhino to represent the state of the chain with non-finalized and finalized states. So we'll do cross-link compatible releases, and we anticipate having the Zyno D light wallet proxy in production. We have an optimistic target of 2 weeks for that. I'll leave it there.
Great, thank you. Any questions from anyone?
I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
Me neither. Can you? Yeah, it came out kind of muffled.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we've reworked our representations of chain state internally, such that we have a non-finalized state and finalized state first-class objects in Zyno, so that when the consensus algorithm migrates to crosslink, will be compatible and future-proof and offer ergonomic interfaces to that consensus algorithm.
Okay, thank you.
I'm confident that Arlo has done significant work on adding TX outputs to compat blocks. I think he may have completed most or all of that work, but I don't have insight into the specifics to Paku's earlier question.
Okay, so we should avoid duplicating work there. Let's discuss that in the Light Client working group meeting.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, next is the Zcash D deprecation updates. Who would like to? I see Paku has turned on his microphone. So
okay. So in terms of Zcash D deprecation, I think that this week I'm going to be working and annoying some people because I want to kind of start building some sort of like visibility tool in terms of how things are going, not specifically bound to dates or anything, but it has been brought to my attention that some teams that needed to lay out their plans for the next months or quarters didn't have like good visibility on how things were marching, and so I would like to work and help to improve that, not to bound us to any targets or weeks or anything, but just to improve like overall visibility of the progress and all the work that we're doing, that it's kind of going under the radar, and and that not only like makes communication more cumbersome, but also kind of undermines all the work that is being done. It's good to have it visible. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best tool, how to make it simple and not a job on its own, like not have the tool be a work, like let the tool work for us. So I'll be contacting leads of every team to try to figure out what's their tooling and how we can make that happen. That's kind of the update here. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know if anyone from any team wants to bring up something on this slot that kind of it's a placeholder for the Thursday's meetings. If not, we can keep going.
great, thank you. Anyone want to add anything or ask any questions?
So did I give sufficient detail in my report about Zcash D deprecation? I think I understated how much work has been done on Zale recently. That's coming along really nicely, and a lot of the kind of sharp edges that would prevent you from using it as a wallet that have been sort of shaved off. So I think the alpha of that is alpha or beta. Okay.
Alpha, yeah, I think.
Alpha is expected soon. Real soon now.
Okay.
But really, really soon.
Cool. I'll get in touch to so you tell me how can I like be useful on the alpha phase and the all of that.
Yes, thank you.
Nate?
Yeah. So this was in the context of Zcash deprecation, which I think is sort of the critical step, or it's on the critical path for a lot of things, but that sort of visibility tool would be great just generally for across all orgs. So I just wanted to throw that in.
I agree.
Yeah. I really like the Sheila Labs roadmap. Also, I think that the blinking dot is really cool. The aesthetics is nice. But yeah, something like that. Condensing all the things that are in flight would be good to have. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Go to the next slide. So research and implementation updates. Anyone from Kedit want to talk? Vivek.
Yeah, hi. So yeah, I'll be giving the update this month, and so yeah, we've had some good progress as well on our front. So let's start with, I guess, the zips. We had some design changes, small design changes to the zips. Like there was an encoding change that allows for like easier versioning of the issuance authorization signatures, and like as a result of that, we also needed some clarifying of the naming of the various items to account for like the possible ambiguities that could arise due to these this versioning in future. So we made like the initial pull requests for that, and I think the zip editors are putting finishing touches to that. And yeah, so that I guess soon we should have like some freeze in the design again. So we've made these design changes in the Python reference implementation as well. There's some small cleanup that's still in like happening, and then we will submit an upstream PR as well with all of these ZSA updates to the test vectors. I think we had one submitted sometime last year, and that's like the test vectors have also been like the upstream has also moved ahead, and some changes have happened there. So we will put a new PR. That one's a bit out of date. So yeah, so these design changes that I mentioned, we've been working on making those changes through the stack. So we are on the Orchard changes now, and like Libra, Zcash, and then Zebra is pending. So yeah, we'll be moving up the stack as we go ahead. Like speaking of Orchard, we've also been making some code simplifications, both within the circuit and outside it. And we've been reducing the diff with the upstream where possible. So we are also soon likely to be getting like further feedback from ECC on some like implementation discussions that we have been talking with them about. So yeah, we are looking forward to that. On the Libra Zcash front, there's been some work for a while that we've been doing now, catching up to upstream because we had branched out a little while behind and we had to catch up. And I think the PCZT additions had various implications for the CSA code. So that's largely solved now, I think. And we will be having discussions again with ECC soon on how these changes look for ZSAs, and yeah, we'll be taking it from there. There's a Halo 2 PR that's also pending for merge or review by the ECC. Yeah, that's for those libraries. On the Zebra side, we also have an upstream PR that's open. We got a review from Arya from the Zcash Foundation. I think we've made the changes internally at present, and we are discussing with the ZF on how to bring that into upstream properly. Yeah, the top of the stack for us is the transaction tool that we have, the repository. So we've been also working on that, making some generalizations, and we've also improved the CI automation. So yeah, that hopefully should lead to like easier and improved deployment of the transaction tool. So that's for ZSAs in NU7. Beyond that, we also had Antoine from our team at the ZEC Summit a few weeks back. And so I think there was some nice discussion we had there as well about the transaction controls and the post-quantum resilience and things like that. So yeah, that's my update for now. Any questions, let me know.
I'm sorry, I said earlier that we'd made updates to the NSM spec. Sorry, it wasn't NSM. We have recently, as I think you mentioned, made updates to the way issuance keys are done, and also fleshed out some of the spec for for Zcash versioning in NU7. But I don't think there have been any changes to NSM. So for that mistake.
Great, thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Okay, Shielded Labs.
Yeah, so Mariusz is going to give the update today. He's been working with CF and ECC on the open PRs.
Yeah, hi. So not much update from my side since the previous time, but I have a question because I saw that there was a new PR created, like a top on our PR for the Libra Zcash.
Sorry, I was muted. That may actually have been what I was thinking of. Let me just check that. What's your question about that PR?
Yeah, so there was a PR created at top of our PR for the Libra Zcash for the NSM.
Yep, 1879, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So our PR won't be developed more, or so all the work will
so
be
let's
done
see.
with
I believe so. I'm not sure we were able to push to your PR because it's a cross-organization push. So that's why we opened this this PR. But I think it just builds on yours. Yes, it does. So it's not a re-race or anything. It's just additional commits. So yes, you should basically work from that PR, I believe now, instead of 1567.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
It's up to date with current main.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Should I answer the comments, or the PR creator should answer them, or?
Let me just have a look at the comments. Okay. Sorry, I have all of the files viewed, so I can't see the comments very easily. Let me just look on the other view.
Yeah, there are some suggestions.
Yeah, so yes, I just reviewed it, and all of those. I think we will just accept those suggestions. So I don't think you need to do any extra work for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just going through our review process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then what's the status of the other open PR, which is a blocker, the Zcash test vectors? I was told a week or so ago that was ready to be merged.
and we have a look at that one. So that is 101, correct?
Marius, is that correct?
Let me look what the status
Let
is
me check.
there. Okay.
Let me find this PR.
Okay, I'll just approve that to run workflows.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
101.
think there was
That's
some
done.
talk about giving Mark from Shielded Labs or maybe Aria from the Zcash Foundation merging rights so that they could help
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I think that just slipped through the cracks, but that was intended, I believe. So I will have a to-do to follow that up.
Thank you. And then Mariusz, once so you're squared away on Liberal Zcash. So how much work do you need to do to get Zip 233 merged? Should it be pretty quick now if we're just waiting on the Zcash test vectors and we know what we need to do for Libra Zcash?
I will have to take a look. For sure, I will need to rebase the PR. And it's hard for me to say now. I would have to take a look closely at the PR. For sure, there will be some rebasing needed.
Okay.
It's
all right, we can talk. Okay, we can talk after this call.
Yeah, so that was Aria and who else to be added as collaborators?
Mark Henderson from Shielded Labs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else want to ask anything of Shielded Labs? No? Okay. So Shielded Labs and ECC. This is about Crosslink. Anything to say about this that hasn't? Yeah, Nate.
Yeah, I can share a bit. So one thing is I attended the ECC summit, and so I gave a short presentation of the current status there and got some feedback. In particular, we had been sorting through a design issue where we wanted to have signatures on chain. And there's this funny thing with BFT protocols where you're voting on BFT blocks. And so those signatures can't be in the block. So if you want signatures on the chain, you have to put them maybe in a later block. And so there's this weird staggering thing, and there's various approaches to it. And Dara shared that she has already created one design for that in the trialing finality layer docs. Since then, we have been looking into that more and considering the motivations for having signatures on the chain in the first place. So one of the primary motivations is based on the idea that we want to reward finalizers based on their participation. So the idea would be finalizers that are more available get rewarded more, and those that aren't participating lose out on rewards. But we have begun discussing what if that is not the case, because there's always trade-offs there where there's a set of trade-offs and security issues, and so we've sort of been discussing that part. Scalability issues. We've been investigating that part of the design more. So that's sort of on the design front, and then on the implementation front, we're still working on creating a testing framework with test vectors that can replay both BFT blocks and proof of work blocks so that we can explore or like test different state transitions in the hybrid Zebra node when blocks of the two types are arriving in different orders. So that's our status. Oh, and zooming out, this is all in the middle of what we're calling milestone 3. And the goal of milestone 3 is to, in the implementation, change proof of work to point in the proof of work blocks to the BFT blocks. And so that will implement the finality logic, but it won't include any of the proof of stake layer. So there's no, the roster is hard coded in a config file and there's no rewards or slashing or anything like that. And no changes to transaction formats. That's the implementation goal. But meanwhile, the design goal for milestone 3 is to flesh out a full design for all of the proof of stake stuff. So that's where we're at. Any questions?
Milestone 4 or milestone 3?
Well, milestone 4 is about implementing all of the proof of stake design, if that makes sense. So that one will be pretty meaty because it involves changing transaction formats, making tools that can delegate, and tools that allow finalizers to become candidates to get on the roster and things like that. So that's the real meaty one.
So something else is that so I've started work on a lean formalization of the Crosslink 2 protocol. That's on the TFL book repo. It's I'll put the URL in the chat. Just a second there. So basically, does that work? Oh, there it is. And yeah, so the progress on that is that I've formalized the assumptions that go into the security proof. In other words, the assumptions about the proof of work chain and the BFT chain. The Crosslink 2 protocol itself is not done yet, but I think we have a sound basis on which to do more work in that formalization.
Nate?
Yeah, just real quick on that. So I need to review the assumptions for the security argument. And I'm wondering if any of the proof of stake layer impacts it. So for example, this issue with signatures, whether or not they're on the chain, how do those map to the assumptions?
So those are not involved in the assumptions directly. That might be involved in when I kind of flesh out the details for Crosslink 2, or it could be that the formalization is kind of more abstract than that, and this is at those details. Depends on how much detail I choose to put into it, because obviously so Crosslink 2, as it's described in the TFL book, is parameterized by the modified best chain and the FT protocols, and so we're kind of treating those as black boxes. And so it depends where we put the abstraction boundary for the BFT protocol, whether that detail about signatures is included in the formalization of it.
Okay. Then we need to coordinate a bit more on this design issue because we reviewed your design, but we wanted to explore alternatives.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds as though it would be a good idea to have a meeting about that.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Duga?
I have other related information, which is that the folks from Informal reached out to me like yesterday or so, because Informal, they're the makers of Malachite, which we're using for the BFT code. They also do this tool called Quint, Quint. And here I've reached the limit of my understanding. There's Quint, there's TLA Plus that Alfredo submitted a suggestion and even a like first crack at, I think, on our GitHub. And there's Lean, and I don't know how these things relate to each other, but I wanted you to know that there is a initial first crack at using Quint to formalize a different part of Crosslink somewhere in our GitHub, or maybe I need to forward it to someone from my Signal. And maybe that could be part of the meeting, because
yeah, let's talk about that. My understanding is that TLA Plus is kind of quite focused on doing model checking. You can also do model checking in Lean. There's a library for that. My impression, and kind of I haven't dug into the details enough to be sure about this, is that I know Lean 4 is expressive enough to do the security proofs that I wanted to do. I don't know whether TLA Plus is. So because TLA Plus is kind of focused on model checking, so I don't know that.
So maybe we should bring everyone who, Alfredo's next. Maybe we should have a meeting, bring everyone who knows and cares about this stuff and links to all the different versions of things. And it's both about the checking and formalization tools, and also this question that Nate was pointing at about how to implement this one part of the protocol.
Quint, by the way, is kind of a front end to TLA Plus. So there are
Alfredo.
at least two front ends to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. I think that in my experience, the TLA Plus is kind of better when you do kind of synchronous stuff, like things going on at the same time and stuff like that. I think that's kind of the stronger TLA Plus capabilities, the distributed stuff. Yeah, I am pretty much in Lean as well. We'll be more than happy to check out what you're doing there, Emma, and more than happy to have a meeting to discuss these kind of things as well.
I mean, that
join efforts.
Yeah, the level that the existing in pencil and paper security proofs in the book are sort of defined at. You don't need to do model checking for them, and you don't need to get into the detail of what messages are sent in the protocols, because you have these sort of more high level properties of the protocols that you're able to use in the proof. Now, obviously, that is only checking a part of what you need to check, but it's an important part, and it's the part where you could make mistakes. So that's why I want those proofs.
Yeah, they all check apart. The real thing is the implementation. So, but yeah. I mean, I think it would be great to join some of the efforts too. I think right now it's kind of different people doing different stuff, and maybe join that up too. Yeah.
I mean, there are advantages of that as well, because kind of if I do everything with the security analysis, then I have blind spots, and so other people might find things that I miss.
Yep. So I will work to set up a meeting about that. And anyone who hears this, let me know if you want to be invited. But I assume, Alfredo, you would like to come, and Dara, and then we can invite the folks from Informal.
And I don't want to volunteer Strad, but I suspect that Strad might want to come, because I mean, it is Nate, me, and Strad who are the designers of Crosslink 2. So.
Okay.
Sorry, Strad, if I volunteered you. You can always refuse.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? No, great. Okay, so can't remember, there's another slide for discussions after this. Let's just have announcements and discussions because, well, I can just do. Oh, yes, there's discussions after this. So first of all, are there any announcements from anyone? No. Okay. So discussions. I know that so Jason would like to discuss the changes to the protocol upgrade process. Do you want to take that away?
Yeah, so Josh had a forum post the other day where he detailed a proposal for how the network upgrade process should work after NU7. Basically, each organization would maintain a fork of Zebra and be responsible for the full development integration lifecycle of the changes that they're proposing. So the reason I asked to add it to the agenda is because I wanted to hear feedback from the ZF team and sort of understand all angles before publicly stating Shielded Labs' position. I see that Conrado and Arya have both provided some thoughtful feedback, and I'm curious to see ECC's response. But I also think it would be helpful to walk through like a real world example or case study. It kind of feels like the forum discussion might not be the best place for this conversation, and maybe we can do some of it on the Arborist call, but it may require more time than that. So, you know, maybe if it's not enough time, we can have a separate standalone call on it. Or maybe we're all busy and there's no real urgency around deciding this now, and the conversation will just sort of naturally occur over the next few months. So
I'm just catching up on the forum discussion. Bear with me, but
yeah.
carry on.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like,
can we get a link to that forum discussion? That's, I'm also behind.
Yep, two of us linked it.
Thank you.
Alfredo?
Yeah, so I think that the current progress is understand is problematic and sometimes put a lot of stuff on top of certain organization. I need to review the code and introduce code and stuff like that. On the other hand, I think that the Zcash deprecation up to NU7, it's an older commitment that all the organizations kind of agreed on. And I think we should do that with the current repositories and the current stuff we have, even if it is a painful process, before trying to switch into something else. Yeah, that's my 2 cents about it.
Am I next?
Nate, did you want to say something?
Different topic.
Yeah.
So just responding to kind of the overhead issue. So I'd imagine each organization would just be maintaining their own patches and then sort of pulling or rebasing from upstream. So that also answers Dismant's point on the forum. He said, or they said, is there a risk that centralized exchanges won't be willing to choose which version to use and just delist? There would still be an upstream. It's just that upstream will presumably be the version that CEXs will be using, and mining pools and so on. It's just that people wanting to propose a change would be maintaining their own version. And that could be run on a testnet. Those versions presumably would not be compatible with mainnet, because by definition they define consensus changes that, and our consensus changes are usually they're incompatible in the sense that they will immediately cause a chain divergence. There's a term for that, but I can't remember what it is. So I wouldn't imagine there'd be any confusion about which version an exchange should use for a mining pool on mainnet. You can sort of define a version that you're proposing that the whole network should fork to, but that is a different thing than proposing a version that's implementing a particular feature. I will yield to other people now.
Nate, is this about what we were just talking about, or is this a different topic?
It's about what we're talking about.
Okay, great. Okay, right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just that one thing I wanted to share from our experience is when we first started setting up our fork of Zebra, we wanted to port over all of the CI infrastructure on the theory that it would be really good to ensure we're not introducing any regressions. And we found it was really difficult to set up and kind of expensive. And so we decided instead we would kind of reset the CI and do simpler CI just for our changes. And then occasionally, like, I'm not sure if we followed up on this, but occasionally, like maybe every milestone, see if we can submit a draft PR upstream to run all of its CI, just to get that feedback earlier than when we're finished. So that might be a topic area we would need to collaborate on, is how to do good testing in CI if we have multiple forks.
So maybe I'm missing something. Why is it not possible to have an upstream branch that just always follows the fork? That could even be automatically kept up to date with a branch from the fork.
Yes, that might be possible, but we thought, I assume it might be costly to run the full CI, so we only want to do it occasionally, if that makes sense. I could be wrong.
I mean, kind of. So ECC has accepted the cost of running CI on branches that are for PRs, even if they are long-running branches. If we find that that's too expensive, then we might change the policy. But as of now, CI runs on PRs, and that's fine.
Oh, but I'm talking about Zebra in particular, like the Zebra CI.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, the
yeah,
Zebra CI.
Right, yeah, there is definitely a problem in Zebra CI to do that, what you're trying to do specifically. We are kind of discussing how to solve it. So one thing you can do is we run the full CI if the branch it is inside the Zcash Foundation organization. So if we give you like the ability to create branches there, you can run the full CI. But right now you cannot run the full CI from external contributor. And another issue is what you just described, which is if you want to run your own CI, it's too complicated and too expensive to do so. So yeah, we might want to have your comments about what exactly the problems you found, and if we can consider that to at least we have with these kind of issues that we would like to fix in the future.
Yeah, and also this topic is somewhat separate from the altering the upgrade process or anything, because I think anyone who's developing big features cares about it.
Yeah, so what I said about CI is true for ECC maintained repos like Zcash, but obviously not for Zebra.
So our main issue is that, sorry, I know there's a lot of people to talk, but yeah. Our main issue is that we kind of try to synchronize the blockchain with kind of, not with HPR, but that makes the whole thing a monster at some point. And that's maybe we'll try to, maybe we have to remove some of that coverage to simplify the CI. It's too much synchronization. It takes days to do some stuff, and that's complicate the whole thing. Arina, please go on.
Yeah, we are working to make CI a little bit simpler and hopefully also less expensive to run for each branch. And in the future, maybe it'll be very easy for forks to just run an exact copy of the CI that's on Zebra's repo, or at least it'll be inexpensive enough that it's reasonable to have a branch that just follows every single commit on all the other forks. Going back to the forum post, so I don't think there's any, or at least I don't see very much controversy in having forks maintained for the purpose of developing a big feature. I think there's just controversy around cutting releases from each one of these forks. And from my perspective, it just seems like a very large cost that we can't really afford right now. And there's not much reason to take on at any point unless there's a competing implementation. Someone brought up that other ecosystems like Ethereum have multiple repos and multiple nodes, but those are completely different implementations that are being maintained by different teams. That makes sense to me because then each team has specific familiarity with their node implementation, and every team has familiarity with the spec. But in this case, it would seem like we're just distributing the work, but the familiarity is not always going to be there if no one team can concentrate fully on just Zebra. I think the code quality will suffer, and I think the pace of development will also suffer.
So in Josh's post, I'm not seeing any kind of suggestion that there are official releases for these forks. It's up to the fork maintainer what they do in terms of release processes, whether they even have releases or they just have a rolling main. Does that resolve the issue, or?
It does, yeah. As long as there aren't releases from the various forks, and each fork is not taking in contributions from every other fork, but there's just one central repo, I think that's perfectly efficient.
Yeah, it obviously helps if you keep fairly up to date with upstream, because if the feature is accepted, then you will want to have something that is mergeable upstream. But apart from that, we're not trying to impose development processes on any other org.
Conrado.
Yeah, I feel like this proposal is a bit confusing. I feel like people are not on the same page about it. What Emma just said sounds very reasonable, but again, it's what already the current situation looks like. Like there's the Zebra repo, people fork it to develop it, like Caddy did, like Shader Labs and the submit PRs upstream, and that seems like the current what is already happening, right? But in the thread, if you look at the thread, I asked some questions to clarify some stuff, and Chris answered that like it would be like each org would make their own release of the node, which seems weird to me. So yeah,
sorry.
I feel like
what I said might conflict with what Chris said, so I hadn't read Chris's response.
Yeah. So I just feel like each person has a view of this of what this proposal looks like, which is already also confusing. And I feel like
okay. That's not your problem. That's ours for not explaining it well enough. So I will talk to Josh about it and discuss some of the misconceptions that people might have had or the differing interpretations. And we'll clarify that.
And just to emphasize something that someone also said in the chat, like I feel that this is trying to solve a problem, but it doesn't explicitly say what the problem is. So it would also be helpful to state like what this is exactly trying to solve.
So I can talk to that to some extent. If you look at how long it takes to get protocol changes into Zcash, it's clearly too long. So Kedit has been having to maintain this feature branch for a long time.
Network sustainability mechanism, simplest patch ever, ticking on like 24 months or something now.
Well, yeah, it's because we tend to bundle changes in one upgrade, and that does have some synergy effects. I mean, it does simplify things, for example, to be able to assume that the quantum resilience changes and CSAs and other bundles are going into the same upgrade. Some other things could have been decoupled and probably should have been decoupled. And that's what this change in process is kind of aiming to encourage. And we haven't been sort of wanting to do that for a while. We've been saying, I mean, this is not really a new proposal. This is what we wanted to do for a couple of years. And it just didn't happen for NU7. And now, partly because of that, because NU7 is kind of like a brick that is plugging up our digestive system for network upgrades. That's why NU 6.1 had to be inserted. So sorry for the unpleasant digestive metaphor, but yeah. Hopefully we will be able to ship the brick with this NU 7.
Lovely. Parku,
We can beep that part out of the recording.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that the core problem that ECC wants to address is like removing themselves as like the drivers of network upgrades. I think that the question is whether, yeah, and also I guess that what Derama just clarified is that they also think that network upgrades are slower and taking more time than they should, so they would like to this process to be faster and I guess like more more lean and happen more often with less things. So I see the blog post addressing the first part of like ECC saying, okay, we're not going to be the drivers or the main drivers of or the ad hoc drivers of network upgrades. But the other thing, like I think is totally unaddressed and also probably made worse, because I don't think that decentralization helps at all with speed so far. Maybe there are going to be breakthroughs soon on that, but usually one thing running the calling the shots is faster than just trying a group of people trying to agree on things. So what I see is that, for example, the Zcash Foundation has on their program areas specifically, it says the Zcash Foundation acts as the steward of the Zcash protocol, supporting its continued maintenance and improvement. So I guess that it could be that's the thing that it's needed. Like there's someone coordinating, organizing, fostering the things that need to be done for a network upgrade to happen in some way, and that is not chaotic, and like it's not like 3 or 4 organizations proposing things like features that may not align with each other with time. So that's the only concern I have, is that I don't see how this is going to be faster if there's no clear process on how things are done. And I understand ECC like wanting to relinquish that role, but I that's kind of my concern of like what's going to happen. Like today, anyone can actually launch their own Zero fork, and the hash rate concentration actually could make it feasible where just the majority of miners, which is just one single mining pool, wants to run one version of Zira, and that will be the upgrade, I guess, in a nutshell. So the blog post doesn't bring anything new that can't actually happen like currently, but I think that since it's a process that someone is proposing, I guess that we should try to make it the most beneficial as possible. And I kind of see that part of like not being there, and clearly not seeing the benefit besides of the conceptual benefits of decentralization.
Can I answer that? Okay, so the benefits of decentralization are not only conceptual, they are very concrete. We do not want there to be a single organization that is the potential target of kind of legal attacks or denial of service, or it's too risky for the protocol. And we didn't just relinquish control of protocol direction because we didn't want to do it anymore. We did it because we thought that was the best thing for Zcash. And I don't think that just another organization adopting the role that ECC played in the first years of the protocol is, I don't think that would be beneficial in the long term for Zcash. Decentralization is important. It's not just one word. In terms of, actually, I'll stop there and let other people contribute.
Does anyone have a comment or a question? Oh, Alfredo.
Yeah, I feel that this kind of, when we start talking about forking and stuff, it's kind of, people start to think about competition between blockchain nodes, whatever, and the different organizations. So, yeah, I think it's a complicated topic. I remember when there was some sort of proposal to kind of move Zcash to as an Ethereum token or something like that. Yeah, I don't think this, I mean, it's great. I understand all the problems. I kind of live them as well. I think we need to fix it in the future. But yeah, again, I think we need to put and use the shielded assets as we are, and then think on an alternative on what to do for all this.
So can I push back on that? First of all, we're not proposing this for NU7, but I do think that we need to talk about it now. We can't just do NU7 and then talk about it, because if we do, then NU8 will in practice end up being done in the same model. And this has happened before.
Yeah, I think it would be good to clarify that. Like, okay, we are trying to think an alternative for after this thing. I feel that we are already committed to deprecate Zcash and to launch the shielded assets. And if we start talking about kind of forking and competing and stuff, like, you know, if the miners or the user follows my version, then yeah, I don't want to see that right now, I guess.
Where does the blog post say compete? It just says that.
Well, I guess that each time someone says forking and there's no official release, it's kind of there.
Because you could try and convince people to run those nodes on mainnet. I mean, I feel that this is addressed in the blog post, but carry on.
Okay.
Just a quick interjection. Fork means different things to different people, by the way, right? So there's source code forks, and then there's chain splits. So that might be causing some confusion.
Yeah.
When I've been saying fork, I've been meaning code fork.
Paku?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, when I mentioned like the conceptual benefits of decentralization, I meant in the context of the blog post. It's like the blog that the blog post kind of like lays out some situation, and then I guess the resolution part or there's no clear proposal on how ECC envisions that these next NUs like NU8, 7, NU8, not 7, definitely not 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. should be coordinated, and that's kind of what I guess leaves a lot of room for imagination or catastrophic thoughts or things like that, and that's when I think that just the conceptual benefits of decentralization are like I mean that if there's no vision on how that's going to happen, then it's decentralization just for the sake of it, and then it's detrimental to the process as we know it at the moment. So that's what I mean by conceptual. And I guess that's the next discussion on, or maybe the next research that we need to do is to figure out how other protocols have been dealing with this, if they have, and see what's a good way to achieve a decentralization that is robust, capture resistant, and also able to deliver at a pace that we think is necessary for Zcash to keep evolving and keep being competitive in the crypto world.
Arian?
So just responding to the vulnerability that Dara Emma brought up, that if only a single organization has the ability to develop Zebra, then it's a denial of service risk. They're like legal pressure could be put on that organization. I think the solution to that is to build familiarity with Zebra across the other organizations. I don't think it's necessary to have competing forks. I think it's fine to have regular forks, just not competing ones, at least not right now. If the financial situation changes, that might change as well, but yeah.
I believe it's a misunderstanding of what Josh meant to say that these are competing forks. The post doesn't say competing. They're not intended to be competing. If you look at the paragraph, alternatively, the proposer could attempt to push their changes to consensus nodes, potentially causing a chain fault. That's an alternative to what is being proposed. That's not what is being proposed.
Alfredo and Arian?
Yeah, so in regards to one of Conrado's concern about what happened in the past with wallet forks, do you have any input for that, Darema?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear what you said.
Yeah, sorry, about Conrado raised in the forum about previous experience with the wallet that, you know, that's kind of something that can be happening today, is that as my code takes too much time to be merged, I do whatever I want in my fork, and then it's kind of impossible to sync the nodes. Like we ended up with different version of wallets in the past for kind of this issue.
I don't think I understand the point.
Okay.
Are you talking about divergence between consensus nodes or between wallets? Because wallets have to be consistent with the consensus protocol, but they are not responsible for implementing it.
Yeah, it happened in the past that we had different wallets using different version of Libra Zcash, and that didn't work very well, in my opinion. Instead of a centralized place where, you know.
Well, it's always going to be the case because of version skew, because of differences in release schedules, that different wallets are on different versions of Libra Zcash. They shouldn't. Ideally, they should not be on inconsistent forks of Libra Zcash. But I feel like we've done a pretty good job of keeping Libra Zcash from so diverging in the same way that, for example, Bellman and Halo 2 diverge with Bellman CE and Halo 2 PSE. And the improvements or changes in those forks never got merged back upstream. That hasn't happened with Libra Zcash. So, and changes to Libra Zcash follow Semba. They have well-documented change logs. So it's kind of up to wallet implementers to avoid any problems with different wallets relying on different versions. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a time check. We've got 9 minutes left, but Arya, please go.
So if they're not competing, the rest of the post seems very non-controversial. It's just explicitly saying what we've been aspiring to, or at least what I think we've been aspiring to for a while, and largely have been doing. And then just one more note on the denial of service risk. It applies to other crates in it applies to every crate in the ecosystems. Just Zebra is probably the biggest one.
So in practice, so if a change to the protocol is making consensus changes, then in practice it will have to be a fork of Libra Zcash as well as Zebra, I would think, in most cases. So for ZSAs, that's certainly true.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it may also require a fork of other crates like Orchard or yeah. Libra Zcash, of course, isn't a crate; it's a workspace with multiple crates.
I think having familiarity, like all of the orgs having familiarity with all of the crates, also opens up a lot of room for everyone to pick up ideas from the other teams that have been missed so far to some extent. That could just be really good for everyone. We just have to find the time to do it.
Yeah. So I think someone mentioned that the important point was that people got familiarity with the Zebra code. I think in practice, basically the only way they're going to do that is by maintaining a fork, because you don't get the same kind of exposure to keeping it working if you don't have a fork. You can make tiny pull requests to a repo and sort of never understand really how that code base works.
Yeah, you really learn
maintain a fork. Then
really learn when you're the owner of it. And you're like, oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we are in agreement that competing forks is not a good idea. I think that there's a I guess a nervousness perhaps around the idea that forks would become competing, because yeah, as we seem to agree, it's not a good idea. So I think yeah, go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay.
But if you're maintaining a code fork, it always has the potential to become a network fork, as the post explicitly acknowledges, and that's okay, because ECC intentionally wanted to get out of the business of deciding what Zcash was. That's why we withdrew from the trademark agreement. Now, ZF can make their own decisions about how they want to handle governance, but I think it's also the case that ZF shouldn't want. I mean, I don't know, but I imagine you don't want to be in the business of deciding what Zcash is. And so if that's the case, then deciding what Zcash is will need to be based on community processes, including but not limited to the zip process.
I don't think what we're talking about is saying what Zcash is. I think we're talking about, I mean, what Zuko says here, I think competition has benefits as well as drawbacks. I really think we can maybe have a bigger conversation at another time. I really do think competing blocks is basically a terrible idea, and I have lots of reasons why, but we do not have time for that right now.
But I would be interested to hear that.
Yeah, I will happily have that conversation, but not in the 4 minutes we have left. Nate.
That's fair.
Well, it's along the same vein, but I was just wanting to point out that like having alternative implementations with like different features or different teams can be a kind of competition in that we might see which users prefer which, but it doesn't have to be like competitive in terms of acrimonious or non-collaborative, if that makes sense. So like an example is I could say Zcashd and Zebra are competing full node implementations, and we're all collaborating to retire one, right? So we have these two options, and that gives us more options as a community, but it's still collaborative. So I just wanted to try to distinguish those.
Yeah, I think that's it. But I think there's a big difference between two different or however many different like ideas for something, and actually this code base we are forking, and now we're going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of it, and which one do you want to go to? And people are spending lots of time and money maintaining one, and then suddenly it diverges. I think that it's one of those things which, like, in the short term could be like, oh, well, this will be useful for this, but actually long term becomes really unwieldy, and I think often a waste of time. And I think that's a big concern. We have 2 minutes left, so Aria, if you can say it in under 2 minutes, go for it.
I think I'm seeing the motivation a little bit better now, and yeah, it'll be good to read the motivation that blog post is updated to have, if it does.
I'll talk to Josh about it. But basically, if you don't want people to run your fork except for testing, then just say that. Okay. It's all simpler than this conversation has made it out to be. Wasn't intended to say all of the controversial stuff. I don't think. I'll confirm that with Josh.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it just sort of led to a different discussion, hasn't it? I think we sort of veered a little bit off from the blog post itself, which is fine. Yes, so 1 minute to go now. I think maybe we should just wrap up. Thank you. And yeah, the next one will be at 9 p.m. Sorry, UTC on August 7th. And the next one at this time will be 2 weeks after that. So thank you everyone for coming, and to the people who are presenting, and yeah, see you all soon.
Bye.
Thanks everyone.
Bye everyone.
Bye.